Hello, people. Welcome. This is Mac with Mac Commentary, and today I have Bob with me. How you doing this morning, Bob?
I'm doing real good, Mac. Thank you for asking. And how about you?
Doing great. Today we are people. We are planning on discussing and commenting on the verdict against Donald Trump by the jury that was listening to his case regarding the rape, or however they did not come out and convict on a rape, but some other lesser uh, charges. It was a civil hearing at any rate. But they voted to hold the former president liable for sexual assault and defamation on Jean Carroll character, I suppose, in her lawsuit against him. And she stated yesterday was probably the happiest day of my life. She told Good Morning America George Stephanopoulos in a Wednesday interview. On Tuesday, a New York City jury ruled that while Trump did not rape Carroll, he sexually abused and also defamed her when he denied her claims. And she was awarded $5 million in damages. So I guess, as Bob would state, she would be happy. It would be the happiest day of her life. Originally, Carol had told Stephanopoulos she had planned to simply come forward with her story and thought that was enough. But then Trump said terrible things about me, and I'm quoting here, dragged me through the mud, ground my face in the dirt. It was horrible, unquote. So she talked to a lawyer, Roberta Kaplan, and together the two brought a lawsuit against him. And, quote, it was the 5'3" wily female attorney and this elderly 79-year-old advice columnist who are finally holding Donald Trump liable, she continued. Carol added that she was shaken throughout the trial, during which Trump declined to testify. But I felt strong because I knew I was telling the truth, and I just stuck to it. Shortly after it was announced, the former president decried the ruling in a post on Truth Social. I have absolutely no idea who this woman is. This verdict is a disgrace, a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time. The jury's decision marks the first time a former president has been civilly liable for sexual misconduct, Trump stated on his Truth Social. So, Bob, how do you look at this situation here with we're in a Me Too age now where people can come up and go back decades and make allegations against individuals and sue them. And for whatever wrongdoing they allege this person has done, even though I don't see what type of evidence that jury could have seen regarding that. I haven't looked into that. I didn't follow the trial. What do you have any information on that, Bob?
I have a very strong opinion on that circumstance, Mac. But like you, not having been a member of the court audience or access to much of the legal material. But my opinion is this. I think this woman is a professional whore. She and I hope that that doesn't get me into a stink with her, because I can't afford a $5 million judgment on me. But she, like a lot of women, uh, commit things that and then blame it on the man. And I go all the way back to Genesis, when Eve got into a conspiracy with the serpent, and decided to put a little fan over her vagina. God had told Adam, don't eat from that tree. And the serpent told her, "Oh, you could go ahead and eat from the tree." And God said, "Well, how'd y'all know you were naked?" "Well, because Eve told me I should eat from the tree." Well, see, the reason I bring that up is because women do a lot of things, and they pretend that, oh, I'm little innocent me. I've known women back that have told me eyeball to eyeball they enjoy sexual intercourse, and that's the reason that they engage with so many men. The defense didn't bring out how much time that woman has been uh, uh, consorting or sleeping with other men. They didn't put on that kind of a defense because they didn't want to defame her. She's a Caucasoid woman, and they wanted to keep as much of that under wraps as possible. But here they had a man, an ex-president, who I think could very well be the next president again, who's vulnerable, because when he was young, like you used to say, when we were young, he's out there spreading his oats. Plus, he's rich. So she knew that when she took him up there into that dressing room and flirting with him. And then when he's flirting with her, and he goes on and initiates whatever he did, if he did anything, she gets upset, perhaps because he didn't consummate the into the sexual relationship, and perhaps she didn't have an orgasm, and so she decided she would claim rape. There's a lot of women out here raping men. So, oh, well, how could he be? How could a man be raped? Women can grab onto your penis. That's why they sell dildos, so that they can use them on themselves. And they get with a live man that's got an active penis, and they grab it and inject it into themselves because that's what they want. So I got a very different opinion. I think Trump got a bad shake on this deal. That woman got $5 million for having two digitals, placed as she alleges. I don't know if Trump did this or not, but she alleges that he placed his fingers in her vagina and hurt. It was painful. I don't think it was painful. You any 56, so I have that was 1995. That'd be what, about 27 years ago. So that would have put her in 50. You mean to tell me she's a virgin at 52? I don't believe that, Mac.
Well, the
I
question
think Trump
is, I
got a
mean,
bad deal.
well,
I think it was a witch hunt.
well, the only thing I have to say on that, Bob, is just my like you stating your personal opinion. My personal opinion on that is I don't see Trump owned the Trump Hotel, I believe, during 1996 in New York, and he had a lot of properties in New York, apartments, etc., and buildings that he owned that he could use for whatever purpose he wanted to. Now, why would a man as wealthy as he go take a woman inside of a dressing room in a department store and rape her when he had access to all the women he could possibly ever get with in that town? That's the
Right.
hard part that I have trying to understand. How could something like this happen? How could he? Why would he do something like that? I mean, I'm not saying that whether he did it or didn't do it, I'm just saying that it's just the probability of him, of a man of his stature during that time period. I can't understand why he would resort to. It's sort of like you out with a woman and you're gonna take her, and you're wealthy, very wealthy, and you're gonna go and have a relationship with her in the back of a car, you know, when there's
Right,
when there's all types of hotels and much more pleasurable and comfortable places that you may want to have a relationship with her. And I just can't see anybody going inside of a dressing room in a department store, a lingerie store, or whatever, especially when you have other customers coming in as well. And you mean to say
right.
that you can't holler out or scream or say something? It's just it's just mind-boggling to me how people come up with these things and other people believe them. That's what gets me.
Yes,
I
yes,
don't understand how people believe stuff like that without using some type of common sense.
yes, yes.
And what I want to know though, Bob, is how do you feel? How do you think that this particular guilty conviction affect Trump during his run for the president in 2024?
Well, first of all, let me
Well,
say this.
wait a minute, Bob. Let's back up a little bit before we get to that.
Oh, okay, okay.
Let's ask this question right here. Let's go back and look at Trump and go back and say, was he an effective president during his tenure?
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
how would you categorize his accomplishments? Because you know they tell me that accessing the effectiveness of a president is a complex and subjective matter that depends on a variety of factors and perspectives. Some may argue that Donald Trump was an effective president because of his efforts to boost the economy, cut taxes, and create jobs. Others may argue that he was not effective because of his controversial policies, divisive rhetoric, and the many controversies that surrounded his presidency. Well, he didn't create that, right? That was other people saying these things. He didn't. I mean, what he did was just state what facts he had out there. Now, what do you think are some of his key accomplishments? And
Well, from a very selfish point of view, as a Negroid, I would say Trump's presidency was one of the best presidencies that I've seen since Richard Nixon. And I liked Richard Nixon. I remember Richard Nixon appointed Arthur Fletcher as the Secretary of Labor, but that's another topic. But let's just go to Trump. What did he do? He got 15% of the black vote, the so-called Negroid vote. Up to that time, no Republican, from what I've read, had been able to get more than 9%. So he increased that by 6 percentage points. And he said, okay, these people did something for me. I'm going to do something for them. That's what politics is about. When somebody does something, you do me a favor, I do you a favor. So he more Negroids were employed by him than during his administration. He lowered the unemployment rate significantly. And you look back over the other presidencies prior to him, and look at the black president, Barack Obama. Look at the first black president, Bill Clinton. They didn't have those kinds of successes. And you look at this guy that's the president now, Bill Biden, Joe Biden. He has not had these kind of so from a very pragmatic, practical point of view, uh, President Donald Trump did something for the black man that other presidents didn't do, even though two of them were black, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. So I applaud his presidency, and I hope he gets reelected again. I intend to vote for it.
Well,
I intend to wear a MAGA hat.
well, I
I'm a
mean,
black MAGA, I guess. Thank you, Mac.
well, Bob, that's admirable comments you made right there, and took a lot of courage to make those comments. And a lot of people will look at that as profane comments, and this, especially from a Democratic point of view. But they are actually truthful comments as I think back on those times. I mean, some people say, okay, he appointed conservative judges to the Supreme Court and other federal courts. So what? Don't they all do that? That's a great accomplishment, right? That he could do that. And but they don't talk about the fact that he negotiated deals with China, Canada, and Mexico, and these were deals that he counteracted certain things as NAFTA, National North America Free Trade Act, which allowed businesses, because you have to look at, they try to say the Republicans are the business minded and the Democrats are more for the people. But actually, the Democrats are one created that NAFTA along with the Republican Congress during that time of Bill Clinton. But Bill Clinton, he pushed it, and where they took jobs from the United States and sent them to Mexico, and other jobs made it much freer for the Canadians to send goods and wood and timber and stuff like that, and which caused problem with the timber growers in these United States, especially in Georgia and the South, where they had to compete with those low cost prices coming from Canada, and and many of them couldn't compete with them. And then with the auto industry, in particular, moved all their plants away from Detroit and other in the United States for the most part, not all of them, but significant amount, into Mexico, and all the jobs, of course, went there as well. And you had many unemployed people in Detroit and the Michigan area because of that. And they don't look at that. And what Trump was trying to do was renegotiated those trade deals, especially with China and Mexico, so they could try to get some of those jobs back into this country. And he was trying to tell these businesses that. And you see where the situation we are in right now with the chips. All the chip manufacturing went over to Taiwan and places like that. And also, like all of the iPhones are made over in China. So now they are seeing a problem that they are in, the dilemma. Now, no jobs here in the United States. So they're now trying to bring back the chip industry here by building big major factories in New York, Arizona, and other places. Intel is, I think, putting up a chip factory place there in New York or Ohio or somewhere else. So these are the things that Trump pushed for and was trying to do before they created that pandemic. So, I mean, people have to look at things realistic and see where they are. And they talk about, look at what jobs have Biden created. I mean, that's helping the black community. I mean, this is what we're focusing in here, Bob, and not just on black and white, but we have to look at the fact how many blacks go out and vote for Democrats. I'm not saying that anybody has to vote for a Republican, because I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. But you have to be able to look at both sides of the things. If I had a preference for a party, It would be one in between that would be set up by blacks for blacks because we're not getting anything as we should from either party. But when you start looking at Trump and seeing what he has done that affected black people, we'll have to say that he was more pro-black than Obama was. So anyway, let's move on, Bob, and talk about any some type of criminal justice reform legislature that he made. Do you recall those reforms?
Oh yes, and I mean, look, the guy was a successful president. It's just that the Democrats want a permanent control of the United States government, in my opinion. So they when Trump was running, and he started saying he was going to drain the swamp, because if you remember, it is the federal bureaucracy, the swamp that was set up under a Democrat administration. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, one of the most praised Democrats in the Democratic Party. He set up the federal government with the permanency, and the Democrats' intent is to maintain that permanency forever. So they're going to do whatever they have to do in order to get that objective accomplished. And the things that you point out are absolutely true. You
Well,
look at some of the stuff that they've set up, it was to the disinterest and the degradation of the American system. And Trump, being a businessman, a successful businessman, a billionaire, $1,000 million several times over, knew what needed to be done. And again, in my opinion, he was so effective that he was putting China into a corner, and China said, "Okay, if some of our people are dying because you closing up stuff over here, and they don't have no place to go, and they're dying from that. We've got a secret weapon that we intend to use on you." And they created that so-called COVID virus. Now, they're not telling us that now, Mac. It might be like you said the other day, 1,000 years from now. But history, somebody's going to dig it up and find out that there was a war going on between China and America at that time. And the war was between the economy that President Trump began to make available to its people, all of its people, and the Chinese, who couldn't compete commercially, so they decided to compete with a poison virus that killed over 1 million Americans.
well,
Now, if that's not a war, I don't know what a war is. But I don't want to get off track here. President Trump is a threat to the Democratic Party, and they saw him as a threat. They saw the successes he was having. He increased, just in his administration, the black vote for him from 9% to 15%. That's almost a 100% increase.
well,
3 more percent. You know.
and what
So
what people didn't realize is that when he stopped the illegals from coming to this country, it not only was it for the preservation of the jobs here, but that was to help not only the poor people in this country, but but the blacks as well, who've always
that's right.
who always the other people that come here, like you find now that the Indians, East Indians who came to this country during after the Civil Rights Movement, They are now elevated much higher than, I'm not the average one out there. Even though you got a lot of poor Indians, dirt poor over in India, but the ones here now, they are coming over here talking like they are better than blacks, and they are as
That's right.
equal as
That's right.
whites, you know. And
That's
when
exactly
and
right.
that's the same thing when you let all these other immigrants who are coming through the southern border right there come here, they always gonna be elevated higher than the blacks. And I think Dr. Claude Anderson said they will bury you because he told us what we had to do, and none of the leadership has taken to read time to read his books and to understand what he was saying or to talk with him while he's still living to get a plan together to stop this. But here Trump was stopping that, and now what the Democrats have done, they have opened the floodgates. Said, "Come on in." And what they're gonna do, all those people they let into this country like that, they are going to make them citizens where they can vote, Bob, and there'll be more Democratic voters for them.
And think about this, Mac. The Caucasoid Democratic Party, they know that the one thing that they could use against any argument in America is the rape of the white women. That that is the secret weapon. It's not a secret because think about the number of us that have been hung and will still get hung or shot today by an affiliation with a Caucasoid woman. So they said they know what that effect will have. If that's the effect that they use on one of their own, President Donald Trump. I mean, they said, look, if we can't get him with these lies that we've been telling, these artificial witch hunts, the telephone call to Zelensky, and the lies about Russia, if we can't get him with that, let's pull out the weapon of all weapons, the rape of the white woman.
Well,
And that's
look,
what this guy whose wife was one of Trump's number one defenders, advisors. That's what he did. He's the one that promoted the case against Trump. I forget his name now. I could see him, a little fat fellow.
Kaplan,
Uh, huh?
was his name Kaplan?
No, it wasn't. His name was George something. Uh, uh, I forget. It'll come to me, but I probably not before the show is over.
Okay.
But he's the one that told her she should get a lawyer, and suggested that the lawyer she should get was this woman named Kaplan.
Okay. Gotcha. Roberta
Yeah,
Kaplan. Okay.
right, right. So so when I look at all of this stuff, and it occurred to me, I said, well, wait a minute, man. They're using the main weapon. That's like using a nuclear weapon, a nuclear bomb. That's like Truman dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Well,
They dropped them, like the Gap Band from Tulsa said. You dropped a bomb on me, and they dropped a bomb on Trump when they let that woman accuse him of rape. But one thing that I want to say here, back kind of wrapping this up for myself, is that in this civil trial, as I understand it, and I'm not a lawyer, like you said at the outset, you have to have preponderance of evidence. And you can't. I don't think. Now I don't know. Some of your lawyer listeners will be able to clarify this for us in their comments. But if you like if they say, okay, Bobby, we're gonna try you for first degree murder, and the judge said, no, we don't think that meets that standard. This is in a criminal case, but we could try him for second degree. Okay, try him for second degree. He gets convicted. But in a civil case, you don't do shit like that. You either have the preponderance, the whole heap of evidence, that shows that you did it, or you don't negotiate. You see that or set the guy free. But look like this judge and this jury, they they negotiated a lesser charge on Trump. They couldn't get him on rape, so they said, "Well, we got him on abduction." I mean, or whatever it was. I mean, for sticking his fingers in a vagina. You know, we'll get him with that and stick him up for $5 million, and the whole will be happy, and everybody's happy. Well, I should say. So, Mac, that's my take on this whole thing.
Well, going back to what you said about how they use the white woman in all different situations. Anytime a white woman hollers rape against blacks, no matter what, they gonna go out there and believe her and move on it. But and I saw that particular thing that happened like that with a movie called Rosewood, and it was here in Rosewood, Florida, when this happened years ago, and how the whole town responded to that, and you could see the pure racism there. But we saw it here recently during the time when Trump was running for president with Herman Cain, who had elevated himself to the front runner. They said, "Oh, we can't let this guy get up there." So what they do? They throw this white woman in there and she testifies that he ran his hands up her dress. And
Right.
you heard nothing else from Herman Cain after that.
That's right. That's right. And that killed him.
That's killed it right there. And you are so right, spot on about that and how they use the white woman and to bring down any man they want to. And
That's
I don't
right.
see nothing special about them in that point of view. I don't know, but that's part of their whole thing, operanda. So MO when it comes down to trying to do something against people that they don't like. And you have to recall that they've been throwing this stuff out there about rape against Trump, with many women coming forward, just as they did with it brought Bill Cosby down, and you got so many people out there believe all of that crap that they said, and that Bill Cosby, and I feel the same way about Bill Cosby. I mean, what reason would he have to rape a woman or to give her some drugs unless she asks for it? You know what I mean? But
Right. Right.
anyway, anyway, Bob, we'll move on with this here. Go back to that first question I paused there. I posed, which we skipped over and jumped over. How will this guilty verdict against Trump? How would that affect his run for the president in 2024?
Well, back since that verdict several days ago, I've been thinking about this, and I hope what I think does not occur. But I don't think that President Trump is going to run again. I think he will step aside, but that's what I think. But my hope is that this will fuel the people out here that think about the fact that they dropped a bomb on Donald Trump, President Trump, and that they should be irate. They should be upset. Say, wait a minute, man. We're tired of this. We go all the way back to Eve. The way the Caucasoid woman has misused the men, Caucasoid men and black men. I mean, you were talking about Rosewood. They burned down Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Well, I
because
don't
a
know
white
whether,
woman alleged
well, Bob,
that.
I don't know whether Eve was Caucasoid though. I don't think she was.
Oh, right. Well. I mean, there's been Negroid women do the same thing, man.
Oh yeah.
So So I mean, I think that women have a propensity if they're not getting their satisfaction, they're going to go for someplace to get it. And if they don't get it, the person that was supposed to give it to them is going to be in trouble. But I don't want to go off a track here. I want to go back to your question of the election. I hope that President Trump gets reelected, but I don't think that he will because I don't think he's going to run. That's my bottom line.
Well, Bob, is it's difficult to predict the exact impact that the conviction in this lawsuit would have on Mr. Trump potential presidential run in 2024. I think it would depend on a variety of factors, such as the timing of, we know the verdict is there and the severity of the conviction. So I don't see how severe that is and the public's reaction to it. And I don't see a lot of reaction from the public on this. Have you seen that?
No, I'm not. That's a good point. No, I've not seen that.
And it doesn't appear to be in the, I mean, it's just like a woman got paid $5 million. I mean, that's all,
Right.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. Look
Yeah,
at
she was a
this.
$5 million hole. Really,
Right.
when you look at it.
Now, it might, they said it could damage his reputation, but I think Trump's reputation, it couldn't be damaged any more than what they've already done to him, with the insurrection, et cetera. And particularly on, well, you might have some issues with the women rights and sexual misconduct, but that's already been out there, Bob.
Well, that's true.
I mean, so I don't see where that was out there before he got elected the first time. I mean, the last time. They've already, maybe if he win the presidential election, this could call for his resignation or removal from office, but they've already done that before, tried that. You know, now people have to remember though, Bob, that a conviction in a defamation lawsuit is not the same as a criminal conviction, which you so aptly pointed out. And it may not necessarily have a significant impact on Trump's political future.
I think that's an excellent point, Max.
And Trump has, and as I stated, he's faced numerous allegations of sexual misconduct in the past. And these have not prevented him from winning the presidency or maintaining a significant base of support among his followers. And I think this would just embolden many of his followers to continue to back him.
Yes.
And that's why I asked you earlier, Bob, in that first point, was he an effective president? Because people are going to go back and they're going to reassess that. They're going to look at what happened during Trump's administration and what has been happening during this Biden administration. Trump was trying to get us out of wars, which he really kind of went in and lowered the tension between the U.S. and what he called the Rocket Man, North Korea president. And he also, with Xi Jinping, he also he had a meeting with him. He met
Yes, he did.
President Putin of Russia, and I think if Trump had received that the winning of that election as he should have received, and I said that was a fraudulent election. I don't care what they come back and say about that, Bob. I mean, it was proven. It was proven, and even though by V.A. Shiva. But if he had been the president over the last few years, we would not have this situation over in Ukraine today. I really believe that, because Trump was on a good speaking term with President Putin. But you see, the oligarchs of America, and people don't believe that we have oligarchs who actually run this country. They don't like the oligarchs of Russia. They don't like Putin. And they don't like Russia, period. So they want to downplay anything that Russia has ever done because Russia does not follow to go along with the stuff that the Europeans do. Like he does not agree with their LGBT movement and the lack of not families. And he does not believe in Russia at no time has ever colonized a country. They've gone to countries to work with countries in Africa, Asia, and other places to help them. And they've been friends with China for years. So I think that if that people have to look at the situation now and decide, and I think it's going to boil down to how much the oligarchs in this country put their money and their efforts behind and using their media and their other uh, types of apparatuses to defame and do as much as they can to just stay on Trump at all times and to make it seem like it's impossible for him to be elected again. And but I don't see how Trump can let this happen to him and he bow out of the race unless it becomes just too much for his own mental, because that's what they try to wear you down with, Bob, is the
Yes.
mental aggravation of it. And he have to, at some point, he'll have to say, is this worth it? And I believe he truly wants to help the American people.
Oh, I absolutely do. I mean, the thing I look at it, I think you're absolutely right in your dissertation, Mac. I think that guy since he was born has known nothing but wealth. His father was wealthy. He went to a military academy. He went to the Wharton School of Finance. This guy's an intelligent, smart, rich Caucasoid. And he knows what America has done for him and his family when they came here from Germany. And he could see that. And he's been friends with blacks for a long time. Don King was one of his main men. Michael Jackson, one of his main men. But you think the Democrats are going to let that be known to the general public? No. And the only thing that they don't want to see President Trump do is when he comes out there on the stage for his rally. If he went out there on the stage doing the moonwalk, I mean, if he got 6% more in the last election, he might get 20 to 30% this time, because a lot of people don't know how friendly he was to the black man, to the Negroid, a Caucasoid rich boy who for whatever reason, I don't know the man, I never met the man, but I like to see what he's done. He did more for the Negroid than the two black presidents, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. So why wouldn't I think that if he got in office again, and I hope your dissertation is right spot on, because I intend to vote for him again, even though if he runs, he will have another Negroid out here pumping his name, because let me put it like this and sum this up. As I look back over the presidents that I liked Eisenhower, I liked Nixon, I liked Kennedy because he was a Catholic and I was a young Catholic boy, and I liked Jimmy Carter. and I like Donald Trump. Those were my favorite guys at the top of the heap. It's kind of like when you have a job and you say, well, I kind of like this manager. Or sometimes you say, oh, I don't like this SOB, but I'm going to have to do the work anyway. Well, Trump is that kind of guy in my eyes. He's the kind of guy that I like. I mean,
Well,
everything that he is alleged to have done with women, it's not anything that any other man in America, 99.9%, unless you're transgender, has ever done to or thought about doing with women. That's just our character. That's our nature. It ain't right, but that's the way it is, man.
well, Bob, there's a lot of things out there. People say that Trump is a racist, this and that. Well, I know that he supported back during the time when this when this Caucasoid woman hollered rape, and she was raped and beaten there in the Central Park of New York. That he called for the death of those 5 kids who were captured, and ultimately was proven that they had nothing to do with that. And he never apologized for it. They say, but we all make mistakes, and I'm gonna tell you, whether Trump is a racist or not, I can't think of a white man I've met in these United States who is not biased or in some way or could be called a racist or have his prejudice, because we all have those same bias and prejudice, whether or not he's racist or biased against blacks. I mean, I think he may be. I, I can't say that he's not. I won't say that he is, but I can say that most whites in this country are racist because they were raised as privileged Americans, and their advantages have put them above not only uh, blacks, but above poor whites and other ethnic groups in this country. So there are many poor whites, middle class whites as well who are racist. So we're not going to get away from that. It's only thing about a racist is how he treats other people of different colors, of other races. If he has any power over them, that he can discriminate against them in any blatant way that he wants to. And I haven't seen that as much in Trump. Maybe at some time in his life he was a racist. But when people see him saying "Make America Great Again," the first thing that comes to many blacks' minds is that he wants to go back. That's what blacks tell me, go back to the 40s and 50s. I don't think he has any intention. I don't even think he has any intention of wanting to go back there. I think what he's talking about, "Make America Great Again," is just that. It's look at the morals in this country. Look at the families in this country. And in particular, blacks should look at that and see what the Democrats, through their policies, have done with the no blacks in the men in the households. Therefore, there could not be any welfare received or help received because of their having a man in the house. So therefore, they put the man out. And back when I grew up, only about 23%, if that many, households were was ran by women, whereas today over 70%. Now, and blacks have all voted for Democrats. And since the 60s, we've lost over 20 billion black babies or could be citizens in this country right now because of abortion. And people don't understand that. And we call ourselves Christians in this country. Now we've got men marrying men, women marrying women, and people changing their sexes. And you think, I mean, this is what Trump is against, in my opinion. This is what most people should be against. That's what Russia is against. That's what the African countries are against. That's what China is against. So don't try to. We are being taken back into and taken into something that is totally disagreeable with the biblical teachings that this nation was founded upon. And so, getting back to and to end this discussion here, Bob, ultimately, whether Donald Trump was an effective president depends on one's perspective and values. While his supporters may view him as a successful leader who prioritized America's interest, others may view his presidency as a tumultuous and divisive period in American politics. But that's all we can say on that, Bob. And I want to thank you for coming on here today. And I want to thank our audience for tuning in and for listening to us. And I want to hear their comments on this as well. So please write your comments. And I read all the comments. And also don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Bob, have a great day. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Mac, and you as well.